Okay.
Okay, today is February 22nd, 2021 for our regular council meeting of Stryker Village at 6 p.m. Tonight, leading us in prayer is our solicitor, Katie.
Bow your heads. Father, I thank you so much for today. I thank you for the people, the leaders in this room, and I praise you for everything that you've done for us, Father. And I pray that you would teach us to be kind to one another, regardless of our backgrounds, our creed, our race, our religion. You died for us all, Father, and I just pray that you would teach us to be gracious and forgiving with our neighbors. And just thank you so much for everything that you've given us. We have so many blessings. In your name I pray. Amen.
Now lead us in pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And roll call.
Brunner,
Yes.
Farmer,
Yes.
Ingram,
Here.
Armstrong, Cameron, and Feehan. Yes.
Going to right to our visitors. We have, you want to do yours later, or do you want to do it now? Let's make him wait for a little bit. We'll jump right to Shane Simpson with National Grid Renewables, talking to us tonight about some solar panels and some potential there. And I know Alan had spoken with him before. There's been communication there. So he's here to present to council tonight some of his information. So the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, hi guys. So, like you said, I'm with National Grid Renewables. My name is Shane Simpson. Right now, National Grid is formerly known as Geronimo Energy. So if you might have heard that name in the last year or so, because we've been around working with landowners and farmers and talking about leasing some of the land out. Right now, National Grid Geronimo has about 1,300 acres leased up in the area. They plan to move forward with permitting process in the fourth quarter of this year for the project itself. Now, I originally, we had conversations about a parcel that's owned by the village that we'd love to include on some of the acreage itself. I have a presentation that I printed out that I'll hand out to you guys. I can go over with you. I'm also gonna, if you guys don't mind, there's one of the main, so National Grid's main office is out of Minnesota. They do all this stuff nationally all over the place. And there's the main associate for this development area in Ohio is Alyssa. And she wants me to call her on the phone because maybe she might be able to add some kind of value to the conversation. You guys don't mind if I do that?
Are you good?
All right. I'll just get her on the phone before we get going.
I can add one thing while he's
Mhm.
dialing her up.
Go ahead.
We have approximately 34 acres?
34 acres.
But we don't wanna put it all in solar field. We would wanna leave part of it for development of housing, streets, that kind of thing. So just to kind of, and I think he's gonna probably tell you if they need
Hi, Alyssa.
10 acres.
How are we doing? We're here just getting started. I'm getting ready to pass things out, and I'm put you on speakerphone. I don't know how well you'll be able to hear everybody, but
Not up by the houses.
we'll see how well we do. All right? All right. All right. Sounds good, thanks. Okay, Liz, can you hear that? How's that? We'll see.
I kind of hear.
All right, I'm gonna pass this out. Oh, I brought it now.
Well, you did.
There's a large.
Dave back there. Is that information I already have?
There's some good stuff in there.
Me now, I'm here, Sharon.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Please, Sharon.
Thank you. You want to go on and look at? All right, as I was saying, National Grid's a renewable company that's, focusing a lot of efforts in Ohio areas, and if you turn to page 1, there you can see that they currently have 2,800 megawatts already in production throughout the country. And they're one of the leaders in North America area doing this stuff. That's, the first page, just a little about. If you go to the next page, you can see that a lot of the farmland is where they're driven. They try to work with a lot of farmers. Obviously, it's good farmland. Crops need sun, solar panels need sun, so it's a good idea that it'll work out there. If you skip to the third page, that just gives you a map of some of the other projects they have going on in Ohio or are working on developing. I know Alyssa's been involved. Alyssa, who's on the phone, has been involved in all these. I've been involved in a majority of all of these.
Yeah, can folks hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, my name is Alyssa. I'm based in our headquarters, which is in Minneapolis. I do a lot of behind-the-scenes work, and Shane's my man on the ground. But for perspective, we've actually submitted projects through the Ohio Power Siting Board already. So Yellowbud, Ross County, and Sycamore Creek are currently at the Ohio Power Siting Board level, that's how we get our permit to start constructing these projects. So we've built a very strong relationship with the Ohio Power Siting Board and know what to expect, and believe that Williams County will be in the pipeline. We have a couple projects down the road that we're looking to submit before Williams County, but that's where we stand with our portfolio.
I mean, they have more going on all over the country, but as Ohio, that's what it looks like so far. So if you turn to the next page, it actually talks specific to this project. This project is going to be a 200 megawatt project, 1,500 plus acres, and it plans to enter state permitting in the fourth quarter of 2021. Anything else to add there, Alyssa?
No, that's good. So yeah, kind of that Ohio Power Siting Board process that I was referring to earlier. We'd be looking to finalize site control for this project. So obviously that's why we're having a discussion with you all today. We're looking to sign up some land, but we're hoping to finalize site control for this project area by the end of March. And then we'll get our permitting folks out in the area to conduct the studies with the hopes of finalizing and submitting our application by Q4 of 2021.
If you go to the next page, it gives you an idea of the land that's actually already leased. The first map shows with roads on it, and the next map shows it without the roads. You can kind of get a better idea when the roads are on the map with the roads off, or how large an area it is already. Everything inside the yellow is already under lease.
And again, we're looking to expand this footprint. And on page 7, that orange line that cuts through the project area, that's the transmission line that we're looking to connect to.
Which I'm sure you guys have all driven by that 100 times. Any questions?
Not yet.
All right, so if you go to the next page, it talks about some of the community impacts that the project will bring. It'll be hundreds of temporary jobs for several years. It'll be some full-time jobs eventually also once everything gets up and going. The tax revenue is $1.4 million added annually to the local towns and counties and schools. Obviously, it's new income for some of the farmers and people that sign up. They're obviously going to get a yearly fee for for leasing their land to National Grid for doing the work, allowing them to use their property. Increase local and state spendings, and then also National Grid does a charitable fund for the local area. So they do $200 per megawatt, which for a 200 megawatt project, which this is planning on being, that's $40,000 donation per year. They do annually. And that fund gets allocated, and then the board determines what you want to use it on. I know, we're talking about lists of stuff on projects before. People have used it to re-roof schools, build new parks, that type of stuff. Yes, you have any
And
of that?
again, this charitable fund is unique to our company. There's not many other companies that do what we do, and this just kind of aligns with our values of being farmer friendly and community driven. We want to make sure that the community that we're coming into benefits from this project just as much as our participating landowners. And if any of you here have a local nonprofit that you think might be a good fit, we'd be open to just getting that name down. Obviously, this is early in the process, but we always just are looking to collect that information ahead of time so we can start vetting.
Any questions there? That stuff? All right, so the next major portion of the presentation just shows the how and the why and the what, and gives you some picture and general ideas. So construction usually takes about 12 months once they start it. All the leases that we have say that they have up to 2 years to get it completed, but it usually takes about a year, about 12 months. Some of the obvious, they have to do some site preparation, some pier installation, some racking installation, some module installation, interconnection, and then the revegetation of the property of the land that they prepared. And then if you go through some more pictures, gives you an idea of what an access road will look like and some of the preparation they have to do to get the land prepared for start of construction.
Yeah, so access roads are typically about 16 feet wide, depending on land conditions. They'll either be a just dirt road that we'll have throughout the life of the project. So typical life of the project of the solar facility is anywhere between 35 and 40 years, but we don't know what technology could be like in the next 5 years or 10 years, and so the life of panels might be able to last beyond, which is why our leases have a lease rate of 55 years. But again, gravel and dirt roads are very easy to maintain, and they're easily removable so that you can restore the land once you return it back.
All right, so if you go to page 12, it gives you an idea of them putting the piers in and doing the racking system installation on it. This reminds me of like when you seen them put new guardrails in on the highway, and they have that machine that pounds the pier in. There's no cement used, they just pound the pier in and the panels go on top of that. So there won't be any cement at the end to remove or anything like that out of the ground, it'll just be pulling out the posts.
Those piers look like they're quite tall. How tall are those piers?
I mean, it varies. I think it varies. The height of these things vary. Alice, you probably talking about that?
I couldn't hear the question.
About the piers being as tall as they are in the picture?
The piers, so first thing about piers is that we will drive them in 4 to 6 feet deep. And then the height of a panel, so piers, we'll put a racking system on top, and then the panel will be inserted into the racking system. But the height of panels will be anywhere between, usually up to 15 feet.
So next page is just a picture of the actual panels and modules itself. Give you an idea what they look like. They vary also. Go ahead. Go ahead, Alyssa.
Panels are typically 4 feet wide by 7 feet long, for perspective.
Next page is more pictures of the actual panels and racking system.
Yeah, so on this slide, we actually have two different types of racking systems displayed. So one of them is fixed tilt, and one of them is a tracking system. So a fixed tilt is kind of how it sounds, is that we're going to install it at one angle, and that's going to be the angle that it stays at throughout the life of the project. Whereas the tracking system will track the sun, so it'll rotate and move and follow the direction of the sun. For this project, given the economics of tracking systems have greatly reduced in recent years, we will be pursuing a tracking system.
All right, so on page 15, it just gives you a couple pictures, examples of a inverter system. Now, obviously, they need to convert the megawatts so it can match the grid, so it can be transportable.
Yeah, so our inverters, we place them on just like concrete skids or slabs as depicted, which are easily removable at the end of the life, as Shane was describing. Our solar project will generate direct current or DC electricity, which we will then need to convert to AC or alternating current, which is what our hull sees. And an inverter from about 150 feet sounds like a high efficiency dishwasher. Inverters will be located centrally inside of the project area, so they won't be along boundaries. It'll be very centralized. And we do need an inverter for about every 2 megawatts.
All right, so on page 16, it's an example of the point of interconnection. That's, I mean, obviously what it sounds like. It's the point where we're going to be tying in and getting it to the T-line.
Yeah, so this is an example of what we would call a substation, one of the substations that we would build. It has a lot less electrical equipment than the majority of substations that you'll find around. But we'll build a 3-breaker ring bus, which will just help us connect into the line, but will also be a safety factor so that if one half of the line goes out, where our point of interconnection is, will allow the second half to continue supplying power.
Shane, can I ask one
Yep.
question? This would not be placed on our property, correct?
No,
This
no.
would be down.
No, so your guys' property isn't, does the line run through there? No, so
No.
typically it's a property where the line runs through, has to be a property where the line runs through. And there, we have a couple of places we're picked out, hopefully that's gonna be where the substation goes.
Okay.
And that land, that usually takes up 8 to 10 acres, and that land has to be purchased.
I was just wondering.
National Grid's gotta own that acreage.
This
Yeah,
wouldn't
it's-
be
it's-
on our property, on
No,
village property?
no.
Okay.
If you go to page 17, just gives you some examples of restoration and revegetation. They always plant farm-friendly stuff down, stuff that's easy to maintain, and, you know, with the idea that they're going to be someday possibly cleaning this up so it could be converted back to farmland if that's what the landowner would like.
Yep, exactly. So again, we'll plant those native and slow growth vegetation, and this is also where we'll hire a few folks to maintain the premises to make sure that the grasses are mowed. Part of our incentive to mow the grasses is if they grow too high, they'll actually cause shading for our panels, which will decrease productivity. But also we want to make sure that we get ahead of any noxious weeds, make sure that those don't spread to neighboring properties. So we will be maintaining the premises.
So plant stuff that doesn't grow too crazy, maintain it as needed. Basically, you can't have it shading the panels.
How often do you have to clean the panels?
How often do you have to clean the panels?
To keep
Rain
efficiency
does a
there.
really good job at cleaning the panels for us, so it really just kind of depends.
Yeah, I think it's not gonna be specific all the time. Like she said, Rain does a good job cleaning it for us. And then, you know, when it's needed, they'll have to come in and do it.
I'll also mention for snow, so like if snow comes and covers our panels, we won't even go out there and wipe off the snow all the time. A lot of times the sun will help melt the snow for us. So just kind of, that's another, like, it depends on the elements on whether or not we'll choose to clean them or how often we'll clean them.
Alright, so the next page just gives you some ideas. Obviously, this gives no pollutants to the area, minimum odor and sound. Has no additional services, adds no additional services, so it doesn't put any pressure on the local services already being used in the area, so you wouldn't have to worry about, you know, this project goes up and then everybody's having their lights flicker and flash or stuff like that. And then obviously all the stuff they plant too is farm friendly, so it actually improves the ground over the time by it.
Yeah, going a little bit further into that, we do believe solar projects are good neighbors. They're quiet, they don't produce any smell or sound, and for water emissions, like they don't produce any pollutants, and actually because land, there's less fertilizer being used, we've seen water quality improve over time. And again, letting that soil rest and also planting those native vegetation actually rejuvenates the soil. And so once panels are removed, the land is better, or has the soil improved and is better farmland than what it was before. And again, we try to do perennial planting to increase biodiversity, help the bees use pollinator-friendly species. And so those are some key points as well.
All right, so the last page, or the second to last page, I should say, actually, the last page is just our information, but, contact information and stuff. But, for decommissioning, obviously, they have to, when it comes time to, clean up the project, they have to remove they have to remove everything, they reuse it, they recycle it at the end of the project's life. The site can be restored to previous use, or if the landowner at that time has other plans for it, can be, you know, restored for that purpose. There's actually decommission plan with the state that has it all figured out on, that gets worked through at the beginning stages of the permit process, exactly how much funds need to go into this for when it comes to reclaiming this land later down the road, because we're talking, you know, an average of like 50 years in most of the cases.
Yeah, exactly. So again, with the Ohio Power Siting Board as a part of our permit submittal, we are legally required to accommodate a decommissioning plan and legally required to set aside a performance bond prior to beginning construction. So there will be this plan as well as this fund to pull from once we begin construction, that when the end of the life of this project occurs, no matter what happens to our company, this will be set aside to be able to pull from and be able to remove the project.
And the last page is our contact information there for all you guys to come up with any questions later down the road, or need to get hold of anybody.
And can I ask, when you say the bonds to decommission, does that mean like if you were to go out of business as a
Yes.
company?
Yeah, so the bond, did you hear that question, Melissa?
No.
She was asking for the bonds for decommission. So yes, it basically goes into, gets paid yearly. Some places it's different, but in Ohio, you have to pay it yearly once the project started. And that money goes into like an escrow account that the county holds on to. And then if National Grid or whoever owns this project later down the road, because sometimes projects get reassigned, then the funds will be there for restoring the property at that point in time.
Yep, it'll sit with a third party, so some sort of it'll go sit with some sort of bank. But the state and the county will have access to this fund when needed.
So with you looking at 1,500 acres, obviously you know we don't have that. Where's the other 1,470 coming from?
All right, so if you look on page,
6?
yeah, 6, everything inside that yellow is already leased. That's about a little over 1,200 acres there.
That's leased by you guys already?
Yes, already leased, already under contract. I started leasing in this area almost a year ago, I'd say, maybe a little bit over that. So I've already been working on getting these leases done. Already leased, that acreage is already accomplished. I have probably another 6 or 7 landowners that I'm currently in negotiations with to add some more acreage to it. So it seems very realistic to get past the 1,500 mark.
Right there at that location?
Yep, all contiguous, all pretty much contiguous acres.
You said this is roughly around 1,200 acres, you said?
Yep.
What's your minimum acreage requirement?
Minimum to do a project?
No, minimum for like a landowner to lease, to
Um,
join in.
I mean, if it's contiguous, usually you want 15 to 20 acres, wouldn't you say, Alyssa? I mean, it's
Yeah.
specific to different areas, but it's not all areas have large landowners that have large acres, so sometimes you do gotta lease up a lot of smaller landowners to get what you need, you know? But,
We will work with the individual landowner to determine what amount of land works best for them, but we've done an intensive siting process of this land that we're talking about, and 15 to 20 acres is, I would say 15 acres for the village of Stryker. That's the minimum that we would want to sign.
And then what was the, on that page 7, what was the red, outlined in red?
that was just somebody right in the middle that we didn't lease up yet, so we just wanted to make it clear that that person's not in this as of right now.
So basically, we'd be butting up against someone you've already leased with.
Yes, contiguous acres, and then to the south where I'm signing up I'm hopefully finalizing and signing up all the acres to the south of you guys also. There's acres, there's an 80-acre tract right to the south. I'm not going off my brain, but there's 80 acres just to the south of you guys, and then there's another 50 and 50, and I'm signing all that up to make it continuous to here. And coming down also. So yes, your guys' property will be contiguous to the project. The land is already leased, yep.
Yeah.
What do you do with wood that's on somebody's property?
Woods?
You go around them, or is it torn out?
Yeah, no, they avoid woods. They don't, it's not worth their while to take down trees, plus the state of Ohio doesn't like them to do that type of stuff, so, that's why farmland is such, it's already developed, it's already been made to work for this process. So, if someone has 100 acres and 10 of it's wooded, and the 90 of it's been being farmed all these years, then they just won't include the wooded area in the project itself.
What about fencing, like around it, how many feet?
It gets fenced all the way around, barbed wire fencing all the way around, so it's a safety hazard, obviously, they can't have people going in there when there's that kind of,
And it's an agricultural fence, so it's about 6 feet high, one of those gridded agricultural fences, so they blend in fairly well with the landscape, but there will be 1 to 2 feet of barbed wire that's on top of the ag fence to make sure that things can't get in or out. I will say projects in Minnesota, in which deer have jumped over those ag fences. So, you know, wildlife will do what they want.
Okay. Anything additional? Questions?
So I don't know if you guys wanna have any questions to specifically your property, not just the project itself. So your guys' property is, so I know there was question of whether you guys wanted to include all the acreage, not include all the acreage. Now, I know you guys got at the north end, you guys got some development lots that have already been built on, I believe, right? That you guys own. Obviously, we'd have to stay so far away from them anyways. You know, like 300-foot setback from all those areas anyways. I know it was talking here before, it was talks if you guys might want to develop that some more. So we could go from the south to the north up and have it up to like 15, 20 acres, leave that space there. There's 5 years of, I call an option, but 5 years on the front end to get everything up and going on the project before it actually starts. And you would have the ability to, in those 5 years, to do what you need to do, but if it decreased the acres, then it would decrease the acres, you know. Once construction started though, then that land is leased and they would have to move forward with the project.
Okay.
So Shane, I've had the opportunity to review the proposed lease, and if, say, Stryker leased 15 acres, as I understand it, there's a lump sum payment at the beginning of the contract period, is that right?
It's an annual payment, you get that annually. There's a payment to start out for the first 5 years, and you get that annually for the first 5 years.
Okay, and have you reviewed numbers, or what would Stryker be looking at if it was?
Yeah, so the initial payment is $40 an acre is $40 an acre for that initial part. And then once it starts construction, it goes to $800 an acre. And that comes in annually. And that's also with a 2% bump each year.
Did you say $40 an acre?
Mhm.
And that's in the first 5 years?
Yes, but if National Grid's able to get everything up and running before 5 years, then that would end once they start construction, right? So say they were able to get it going in year 4, they would start construction, it would go to $800. You wouldn't see that 50 or the $40 because it's moved into it went from the development period to the actual construction phase.
We currently lease that, we can still lease it for
Yep,
farmland.
you can still lease it the whole entire time, yep, you can still lease it the whole entire time. National Grid does their best that if the time they're gonna start construction, they try to avoid crop season and that type of stuff, it doesn't always work that way. And they try to give the tenant a heads up what's going on, that they're coming, so they can either not plant or plant based on that. And then if it's, worst case scenarios, if some crops do have to be removed, then National Grid reimburses for that crop damage.
Yep, I believe that's section 3.5. I could be wrong on that exact number. But there is a section laid out in the lease discussing crop damages.
Okay, any other questions for either one of them? I'm sure we'll have more. Anyone? All right, well, I thank you both for the presentation. It definitely gives us some things to talk about and try and figure out some more questions
All right.
that come up that we can either direct to you or go through the office here. All right,
All right.
thank you
Sounds
both.
good. Thanks. All right, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Like I said, I'm out here almost every single week, almost every week. I mean, I was headed out here last week, but once, I was trying to make up my mind whether I wanted to get through the weather or not, but then once I got the call, this got canceled, I assumed that, yeah, that probably should make up my mind for me.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't that bad.
So if it's something you guys think you wanna move forward with, I can get the paperwork ready, so it's actually like, not just a blank copy. And I
Okay,
can get the map ready, but I can't get the map ready till you guys determine how much you would like to also include, you know.
What time frame are you looking at? You said the end
We're
of
hoping,
March?
yeah, we're hoping to get everything finalized end of March, because they want to permit by end of the fourth quarter, they want to start permitting process by the fourth quarter of this year. So, they were asking me to try to get everybody that wants to participate at this point, signed up by the end of March. Like I said, there's enough acres to do, we already have enough acres to do the project, so they're gonna be permitting it, barring anything crazy happening, they're gonna be permitting it by the end of fourth quarter, it's just a matter of who else wants to participate. So, alright,
All right, thank you, sir.
thanks guys. You guys want some business cards? Anybody?
Yeah, if you'd like to leave some, that'd be good. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump to you, just so you can introduce our newest employee. Thank you, sir. I am going to slide out of the way and let you both come up here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This is Nolan Short, graduate of Stryker High School, resident of Stryker, Ohio. And just to let you know, he's our newest employee, just started, actually today was his first day, so
Did you break him in right?
Yes.
That's the question.
ask him. You gotta ask him. Oh, yeah. Okay, it was a good day. I'm looking forward to working for Stryker, so. Well, we're glad to have you. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, go to the minutes of January 18, 2021. Is there a motion to accept?
There's one correction. Fourth paragraph down, the motion to approve the current financial report should say all ayes, no nays.
Oh, yeah, all nays, no nays.
All nays, no nays.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Darn,
Move-
Evelyn,
move
she's
to
my
accept
correction
as corrected.
person.
Okay, is there a second?
Second that.
Is there any additional corrections need to be made prior to vote? With that, roll call.
Okay, switching up here. Farmer,
Yes.
Ingram,
Yes.
Armstrong, Seahan,
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Looking for a motion to approve the finance report as of 2/12 of 2021. Is there a motion?
Move to approve the finance report as of 2/12/2021.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And Beth, did you have any input that you wanted to share prior to?
Just, we were about $3,000 down on revenue versus expenses in that time frame. But, the beginning of the year, we have a lot of annual fees that come out. So I think that's the majority of it, and, once we get our property tax, share in this next month, that usually puts us good for the plus for a while, so. Other than that, we're, no major expenses in that time frame.
Does that spur any questions from council? Okay, then roll call.
Ingram,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Seahan,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
I did not have any communications. Did the council have any for the rest of the body? Then that will put us into the 21 committees. And again, I waited 1 month so I could find out who was going to be in the seat that Leah's in as president of council. They really did not change much. What I looked at with that one was, since we did have a rotation of individuals and we were pretty limited on what we could do over the COVID pandemic, I went ahead and left them pretty much where they were with a few items.
Did you intend to make any change in 2 committees?
No, I will make that,
I think Sam is not a chairman of one yet.
okay. I will make that correction. that was an oversight. So you'll wind up with one of the leads on it.
All right.
Okay. I will get that one for next meeting. That leads us into the legislative side. This was a couple items, and I will let Beth talk about this first one, I believe. Either you or Emily talk about it. This is a renewal that we do every year, but I'll let you talk about that one. The village solicitor item, for tax purposes.
That's okay.
Don't wanna scare you there.
What this is we do it annually with, Mr. Thompson, and the only thing we really use him for is non-filers in the village, and we have to have an agreement, because he sends to the state to get a list of who's filed in Stryker with the state of Ohio, and then we use that to see who should be filing here. And, we do use him to go forward with getting, the non-filers to file, and then, once we use that, we use the Attorney General's office. So, for collections, but it's a small amount that we use him yearly for, and it's just for that purpose. If that makes sense, once we have people filed, then we have other avenues that we use. So.
I think we've been using him for about 4 years, 5
Yeah,
years.
we used to just go through the municipal prosecutor, Rhonda Fisher, but, she's pretty busy with Ryan, so we get put really far down the list, and Ryan kind of picked up the process, so, that's when we started using him. So, he's pretty much got the process down, and we spend, maybe $300 a year, so. But we have to have an agreement, he has to send it in when he files for the state list, the state requires that we have a copy.
Is there any additional questions for Beth on what we use Mr. Thompson for? Okay, we'll take a motion to have Mr. Thompson represent for special tax matters. Is there a motion to accept? A second?
I'll say.
And you want to do a roll call on that?
Armstrong?
Yes.
Seahan?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Farmer?
Yes.
Ingram?
Yes.
The next one, we're looking to suspend the rules for resolution 022021 TAC 1, which is a joint solid waste management district plan update. Is there a motion to suspend?
I'll make a motion to suspend.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion prior to vote?
I will tell you, the plan's right here, if anybody wants to do a little bit of light reading. It's kind of like the mitigation plan that you passed, sorry. Well, last time we did it was 7 years ago, so. I copied it out in case you guys want to. They sent it on a disc, right?
And roll call.
Deanne? Yes. Benner?
Yes.
Farmer?
Yes.
Ingram?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Need a motion to pass resolution 02 TAC 2021 TAC 1, the joint solid waste management district plan update. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to pass.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Anyone have any questions prior to the final vote? Roll call.
Benner?
Yes.
Farmer?
Yes.
Ingram?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Deanne?
Leads us directly into village officials. Chief Slusher's been sitting back there patiently, so we will let him go first. Mr. Slusher.
All right, well, JR got married last weekend. Congratulations to JR. Condolences to your wife.
Yep, thank you.
Yep. Jonathan Wood has left us. He is now working full-time in Bryant. Abe Stottlemyre will be getting off FTO just in time to be put on March's schedule. So we have one officer that actually had to drop off of the next couple months' schedule because of concerns with drawing Social Security. So that's going to be an issue. Hopefully we can get that taken care of. So, and then Officers Skyver and Bettenker attended A-RIDE training, which is Advanced Roadside Impaired Driving Enforcement in Maumee, and that was on February 8th and 9th. Going through the monthly report, had 51 complaints. We had 11 traffic warnings, 0 citations, and 3 adult arrests from last month.
Any questions for Chief? Okay, thank you, Chief, and congratulations on your wedding. Sir, Alan.
Well, we've been busy, the guys have been busy this last month with snow removal, and I do go around and check, and things look pretty good, and we've had a few minor complaints. There was a complaint one time about a mailbox that was not us, that a car had taken down the tracks, and Chief took care of that issue, so. Nolan missed all the fun action, so, but he might still get his chance to get some in this year.
Bite your tongue.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did meet with Pogemeyers on the grants for the water tower and water line. So they are applying for 2 of them, is that right, Beth?
Yes.
2 grants. So we're just kinda, it's gonna be a process to go through to get, so.
So refresh the water line, which ones?
Johnson Avenue water line,
And they added Defiance, from Mulberry down to it, that's a 6-inch cast iron.
yes.
We're adding it to the 4-inch cast iron on Johnson to make it a bigger project. Applying for federal money is what Alan signed the applications for, was for DEPA. We're also going to try OPWC and whatever other grants are available, like a combination, because altogether that's 600,000. But there's more chances with it being a larger project to get the bigger pot of money. So that's application number 1. Application number 2, the water tower, is 1.1 million. Again, the application we filled out for is for federal, but it trickles down in the state. So it's like, we're applying for multiple with that application, to see if we can get several sources of funding.
Did we ever get a report back on like when they did the inspection of the water tower?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, we got one from a private company, and then I turned that over to our engineers, and they want really to do another report, inspection. They said that was just kind of a
It's kind of generic,
yeah.
you know, a few pictures here and there. They'll do, to get the grant, we'd have to do a more in-depth, submerge down in inspection, correct?
Yes.
And, I mean, it's not like it's gonna collapse or anything like that in the
Right.
near
Yeah,
future.
it's not a safety issue.
But it's
Or
the,
drinking water issue.
yeah, it's just the fact that, as old as it is, we're to the point where to paint it, it has to be like peeled, because,
Sandblasted all down to bare metal.
and the cost
Cost of that
is
is
about $500,000.
half the price of a new tower. And grant money will not pay refurbishing repairs. So only new construction.
Why not?
So we're throwing out there to see what we're eligible for and what we can do. If we do the tower, you're probably looking 3 years out,
Yes.
so, the water line, that's probably a year, so.
And that was one reason we got turned down for the Johnson line 2 years in a row, too small of a project. They want the money to go to a bigger project, so that's why they combined.
Okay,
That's all I have.
any questions for Alan? All right, I will start here on my right side for one last go around. Mr. President? Oh, wait a minute,
Come to you.
I forgot Katie. Katie, do you have anything for the good? Look at that.
No, I don't have anything worth saying.
We're put that way. Okay, that's good. I like it. But Emily's saying something about we need a record committee.
Well, I'm working on it. I was gonna wait until it got a little bit nicer so we could get the truck to come to actually do it, but I have the police paperwork done for the police side records. I'm working on our side yet. Not quite there.
Just wondered.
Okay, any additional?
Good.
Kim?
I just like to welcome you, Nolan, and I'm happy to have you.
Dave?
Got nothing.
Okay. Sam?
I do not have anything, thank you.
Sean?
Nothing, thanks.
Jump back over there, chief.
Negative.
Katie?
No,
I might hit you again here in a second. Beth?
I have something, sorry.
Oh, Lord.
Oh,
All right.
I should have said earlier.
2 minutes.
Alright, I'll try to make it quick. Our online payment system for the utility bills, it's not really a glitch, it's legitimate, but if people go into a search engine such as Google or Internet Explorer and put Village of Stryker pay utility bill, there are third-party companies that pay a lot of money to be first in that search engine. And one of them is called Doxo. Doxo, which is a legitimate company, but if people, they're not really, it's not our third-party pay company. So if you're going to a search engine and you use one of them, our third party is Nextbill Pay. If you go into a search engine and it takes you to another third party, a lot of them are charging like a monthly fee of say $5 to say they'll pay all your bills for you. And we will get the payment about a month later, which is an issue when our shut off is on the 10th. We had a couple residents that were on our shut off list. We contacted them, they're like, we paid it, it came out of our account. It comes out of their account as soon as they hit on it. But if you read the fine print and the email they're sent, it says we'll pay your bill like February 19th, and our shut-offs are the 10th. So, we did end up getting the payments, but it's a lot later than what our billing thing is. All I can tell people is, we contacted our software, we can't do anything about the search engines and how they work, is if people are gonna pay the bill, go to www.villageofstryker.com. Go to our website. Would be my recommendation. I mean, if you wanna use a different third party, that's people's choice. That's just how they work.
Did you catch that, Mrs. Miller?
I'm trying to.
Bold print, highlighted.
I
Heads
can
up.
explain it more after the meeting if you want.
Okay, just one clarification while you're still on recording. You said the second one down is your third party, so the village does have a third party that's,
We have a third party that, when you click on our site,
and what's the
when
name
you
of it?
click on our pay bill, it goes to Next Bill Pay. That is our
Next.
third party.
It's actually called Next Bill Pay.
Yes,
When you want to get there through the village website.
yes. I mean, you can, yes, you wanna
Quicker and
basically
easier.
just go to our website, make sure you're going to our website, not using a search engine. You can use the search engine, but it's gonna pop up with a lot of other ones that are gonna offer to pay the bill for you.
Is that one word?
Next bill pay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything additional, Beth?
Yes, sorry. I have been looking into getting the electronic sign out front here, that we had talked about. I've contacted two companies. One is, Stewart Signs, they were out of Florida. The other one was, I talked to some of the other villages in the city of Bryan, and they suggested using Allen Industries, which is out of Maumee. And when I contacted the guy, contacted the company, the gentleman that responded actually designed our signs 20 years ago, our Welcome to Stryker signs. So that's who I've been talking to, and he had me go to his website and print some of the signs. And I guess what I'm looking for is to know, it makes a big price difference if we were looking at just a sign on its own, or if we were looking for a sign with masonry around it. So there's some examples. And if you were looking to keep the Lockport Bridge design on the top of it, or if you wanted to look at something like similar to the other signs that say Home of the Panthers and has a panther, or I guess I'm just looking for some directions, so if you guys wanna take some time and think about it for next meeting of what you wanna see on a sign, so I can get a better pricing idea. I mean, roughly, the size of what's out there that I told you the dimensions are roughly around $18,000 for electronic. So, I got some samples if you guys wanna take a look after the meeting and kinda get an idea of what we're looking at. Cause I wanna get a good quote, basically from both of them. I called and checked on our police cruiser. It is scheduled to arrive at Statewide in Van Wert, police Van Wert, this week as a dealership. And then once it's there, the time it takes them to equip it or whatever is probably a couple weeks there. So it is scheduled to arrive there from Ford. And then the last one,
The front door, spent with COVID money for electronic handicap accessible door, is going to be scheduled for this coming weekend. He wanted to do it when the office was closed, so he wouldn't interrupt the flow, coming in and out, so that's on the schedule.
Okay. All right, with that, Katie, one last time, since I skipped you, I'll give you an extra chance.
I've got nothing.
Okay. With that, need a motion to adjourn? Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So, anyway.
Have a break,
Yeah.
Westfield.